Hey, welcome to another video from the Outdoor Analyst. I have a really fun video today. The topic of hunting came up today at work, and it just got me thinking on two awesome hunting knives. And the question was, which one would I want more? And man, that was a really tough one. And we have the lovely Bark River Gunny Hunter and in 154 CPM, 154 CM. I guess it's a CPM 154, not the CM. I guess that's the old school version of it. I'm so used to Benchmade's 154 CM, so there we go. And then the this is actually the Canadian Special in LT version. It is CPM 3V, so we have a little bit tougher steel here, probably a little more edge retention, way tougher, not stainless. 3V does pit out pretty easily. CPM 154 holds a pretty decent edge actually. Not disappointed in it. Fairly tough for a stainless steel and pretty stainless. I've had several knives in CPM 154 and they were bigger than this by quite a bit. I did a good amount of like bushcrafting with them and smacking trees and baton and stuff, and never had any issues with chipping. So kind of shocking. I actually have had 3V chipping issues, but you know, whatever. Sometimes I think there's just sand or rocks that get in between some of those, some of the wood that's been out there on the ground for a long time. And sometimes you just nail them. Doesn't really matter what the steel, it's going to do some issues. But 3V is generally extremely tough. Had awesome success with it for the most part. And really, these two knives are meant to do both basically the same thing. They are meant to be woods knives, or I guess bushcraft might be the word for it. I kind of consider them more of hunting knives. One I think is more oriented towards hunting, and the other can kind of shift into that bushcraft a little bit better. That's just because of handle ergonomics. But as far as these go, they're not really big, which is perfect for a hunting knife to me. I love anything under 4 inches generally, and these are right around that mark. I like being able to choke up and get a lot of control where I need it. And normally, aesthetically, I like a tall blade. But for hunting, I'm generally gonna go shorter because you have to do some nasty circle cuts sometimes, and the shorter that blade, the smaller the cut's gonna be all the way around, the easier it goes in. And both of these fit that very, very well. They fit that kind of just straight up field dressing need really, really well. There's a little more belly on the Gunny Hunter. They both have a slight drop to them. These are both about the same thickness, honestly. I'd say they're a little thick for a hunting knife, but considering that Bark River has that almost full height convex on these, I think there is one on the Gunny Hunter, and almost one on the LT. You can see where it starts. There's a hair bit of a flat there. So, for splitting wood, that would actually do a little better, even though for feather sticking, I believe with the handle ergonomics, this one's going to do a little better. This is almost has, if you've ever had the old school bushcrafter, very similar taper, except this has very small finger grooves, which originally I thought would be awful. But if you're in a light grip, what you're normally doing for hunting, they actually lock you in very, very well without being uncomfortable. Now on a hammer grip, the Gunny is just better overall. More ergonomic, more comfortable. You want to feather stick with this versus this. Blade-wise, they'll do about the same, but handle-wise, this is much better. So I guess if you're kind of debating on which one you want to do, I'd say if you do more feather sticking, go with the Gunny Hunter. As far as field dressing, this is going to be great. I love it. I think it's super awesome. Very similar to the EXT1, has the Gunny handle, just not as big as a drop point, but the Hunter is a little bit of jumping up here. If you like that sort of thing, I kind of feel like it grabs a little bit of the back of the finger. I do not mind that. When I'm doing field dressing, it's very cold temperatures, and I don't mind having a little bit of grip. I usually have, rubber gloves on anyway. So that's just nice to have. This does not have that, kind of has that hump up there at the top, which kind of locks you in all on its own because of that. And these little finger grooves are not uncomfortable. They actually line up really, really well when you're going to be doing what you're going to be doing. And honestly, I really do like the Canadian Special. This is the LT, so it's a little thinner. I don't think I'd like the thicker one nearly as much, just because I like slicey. I want something slicey when it's going to be this small, because that's what you're going to be doing with it, slicing stuff. Honestly, if you're interested in either one, I don't think you're going to be really that disappointed. This is basically a shrunken down Bravo handle, and it's really comfortable. They're doing these a little thicker, I think, than they used to. And the 154 CM, someone who decided to make this handle, did it nice and thick. I'm a fan. It's very ergonomic. It is just a lock you in sort of handle when you're wanting to get really close on fine detail. Now the jumping there is a love or hate it. I don't mind it. I really don't. When I'm more bushcrafty, sometimes I do want my thumb up there, and it's a killer for thumbs. But if you're just hammer gripping, it's totally fine. Not a great hammer gripper. I mean, because it's thinner up here and you can't really lock in nearly as much because of the grooves. Not as feather sticky. So just know that. I mean, it's not going to be comfortable to do this very long at all because of the ergonomics of this. It's more meant to be a hunting knife, or do a little bit of kitchen prep with it. I think that's what it's better at. It's nothing as a do-all, but I think it does a pretty good job at everything but just straight up woods work, feather sticking work. So yeah, I am a fan. I think as an overall do-all, probably the Gunny Hunter's a little more flexible, but I just love the look of this. I've had good luck. Yes, I've made quite a few fires with this year. I didn't have any issues with feather sticking. No, if you're just making one fire and you're just gonna get stuff ready, this is just fine. I had no problems with it. Ergonomically, it was not as comfortable, but it's close enough. And I want this one at least with me when I'm hunting. I think I'm actually gonna take the Tundra this year as my first Bambi getter, first field dresser for Bambi #1. But after that, it's gonna be a toss-up between these two. I'll probably have them in my bag, and whichever one I grab first, that's the one I'll go for. So yeah, awesome knives. I'm a fan of both. I like both of the steels. You don't have to worry nearly as much about corrosion with CPM 154. That is just absolutely lovely. But you can make some more mistakes and hit more bones with 3V and not have to worry about chipping nearly as much as that. So kind of a trade-off, but you're going to have to wipe the living death off of this thing to make sure there's no blood or water on it once you get out into the woods, or if it starts raining, or where I'm at, usually sleeting and snowing on you. This has to be out of that leather sheath fast, and if it's in there the whole day, yeah, it's probably going to have some rust on it, and it's probably going to start pitting on you really, really fast. So just be careful. 3V is not a super great, I guess, wet weather steel by any means. This is much better for that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of both of these, though. I don't think I'm going to get rid of these. Yeah, they're just super cool. Old school, iconic. New school, sort of, I don't know, just really useful. I love the Hunter drop point version of these. It's just, that's a win in the Gunny. This and the EXT1, which has a little more drop point to it, is just awesome as well. And I wish I would have kept the one I had back in the day. If they were doing another run, definitely picking one of those things up, because they are super, super cool. Oof, I like both of these. I'm a big fan of them. If you're in the market for either, pick them up. I don't think you'll be disappointed with these finger grooves. Just know they're not hammer grip friendly. They just really aren't. That's not what they're meant for. They are more, I don't know if this is called saber grip or something, whatever it is. When you're doing this, it's awesome. Going that route, not so much. So as long as you know that ahead of time, I think you'll be happy with your choice. So there you go. Have a good one. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.